Okay, there we go. Okay, good afternoon, beautiful people. This is your host, Matthew, Day and Night Podcast. This is episode 50. Mark is back in the building. So we got a good one for you. We have a special guest, and I'll let Mark say his piece, and then I'm going ahead and introduce our guest to you.
Well, I just want to say, hey, everybody, good afternoon or good morning, kind of still here in San Antonio, Sunday. And always, I appreciate y'all, checking us out, staying in tune and always like, subscribe, and share. And again, I have, friends out there that I know watch it. Guys, feedback is always great. It give us more insight on how y'all feel about the podcast. So, always, just keep that in mind. And I'm looking forward to this episode. So I'm ready to get it going. Sunday fun day, as I say. And STS, guys, that's my famous saying, as y'all know. It's more for what I say in the fitness world because I'm a trainer, but I feel like that's something we can use in all aspects of life. It's just simple. You stay focused, trust the process, and stay consistent. And you do all of those hand in hand, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you will achieve it because you have to do those three in accordance, together, not one more than the other, all at the same level. On that note, I'm ready. So I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce our guest, Matt.
Okay, so we have a special guest. Her name is Bracha Goetz, and she's a well-renowned author. She's a graduate from Harvard University. Um, she started off, working for a business in England, and from that point, she switched over and she created her own company. So she's the CEO of a company called Better Topics. And so that's what she's going to talk about today. She's going to talk about her book, and she's going to talk about as far as the game that she created for couples. So she said she has actually helped couples over 176 countries. So I'm real interested to have this conversation and to hear what she has to say. Okay, so Bracha, are you there?
I'm here. Hi.
There you are. Hey, how you doing?
So,
Oh, good. Thank you. So happy to be with you.
Yes, we appreciate you taking your time out on this beautiful Sunday to sit down and have a conversation with us and discuss what it is that you do. I'm really, really intrigued. I read your bio, and I'm really interested in the game that you invented. Was it Better Topics? So I already did the introduction. I told everyone that you're a graduate of Harvard University. You have written 41 children books and the memoir for candid adults about your journey. So I'm just going to let you take the floor, explain to everyone who you are, uh, why you created the Better Topics, and we'll go from there.
Okay, great. Do I just start now?
Yes, you can. The floor
Okay.
is yours.
Okay, great. Um, okay, hi, I'm Bracha Goetz, and I'm really happy to be on the show. I want to tell you that I listened to your self-love show,
Oh yes,
and yeah, I gotta say, when before I go,
start now?
oh,
yes, you can. The floor is yours. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bracha.
before I go on a show, I try to listen for a few minutes. But
Right.
I loved it so much. I listened to every single word. I'm telling you, from beginning to end, it was such a fantastic podcast. So I
Thank you.
feel, yeah, I know your brother Mark wasn't there. You were in
Yes.
Texas at the time, right? But it I feel like I really learned a lot about you, and I feel like what I want to share relates to what you shared on that show. I think
Awesome.
I think you're going to love this because it so much relates to your journey. I like to share my journey, what changed about it, because also, like you, my teen years were the hard years. Like you
Hmm.
talked about, like fitting in. I think most teens feel weird. They don't feel like
Yes.
it's like part of being a teen. You don't fit in. You feel like a weirdo. And it was such a time of searching.
Hmm.
When I finally found what I was looking for, that's actually how I ended up at Harvard
Okay.
because I was getting really lost as a teen. And then I got involved in like spiritual stuff and I was searching and I was like, maybe I can find like the ultimate wisdom at Harvard. Like I'm going to start to do really well at school. So I studied hard. And my parents were not at all into me going there. It was like, why are you doing
Really?
this? This doesn't like fit into, yeah. So like, it wasn't like my kind of background, like going to Harvard, but like, I felt like this is it. Like you made it, like Harvard. And like, while I was there, like I met like the children of like
Hmm.
really famous people and like powerful people. When you do that, you get to see up front, like you were talking about, it's like an illusion.
Yes.
All that wealth and fame and power, you think it's really what to strive for until you actually get there and you see that
Hmm.
those people are just searching as much as you are. Like
Yes, indeed.
yes, they also, they're also wondering, like, what's it all about? What's life all about?
Right.
So like when I was at Harvard, like I had a good time and stuff, but I didn't find what I was looking for in terms of what is life's purpose.
Right.
So I graduated from there. I went on to medical school. And by then, I was really getting sicker and sicker, but people wouldn't know it. Like I looked like successful on the outside,
Right.
but I had like food addictions and
Hmm.
it was getting worse and worse. By the time I got to medical school, like my behaviors, I was doing such bizarre stuff, but nobody knew because when you have an addiction,
Right.
it's secret. Other people have no idea what you're doing. So there I wanted to be a psychiatrist, but
Awesome.
yeah, but I myself was getting just in a really bad place as the like an addiction that the walls get narrower and
Hmm.
narrower and the walls are really our thoughts. That's really what's keeping us
Yes.
in a prison. So
Exactly.
yeah, so it got really bad. Anyway, what happened was the summer between my first and second year of medical school, I had a 6 week vacation. I went to Israel for 6 weeks
Okay.
and I didn't come back. I just disappeared. And basically, I I learned about my own ancient mystical wisdom.
Hmm.
And it's like, I don't need this kind of, this is what I've been searching for my whole life. So
Yes.
I integrated it. I immersed myself in this life. And I lived in Israel for 10 years. And
Nice.
actually, then I ended up meeting my husband and having children. And now our children have grown up. They have their own families. And my husband and myself, we've returned to Israel. So right now I'm talking to you from Israel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So how is that working out? You okay? Everything's good? Or? Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, it's not good. No, it's definitely not good.
I can
It
imagine.
I've never been in a war before in my whole life, you know.
Right.
The first day when I woke up, it was the Sabbath. It was the holiday of Simchat Torah when everything started. It was a
Hmm.
surprise attack, you know. And I heard the sirens. I didn't know what I was hearing because
Right.
I never heard air raid sirens before. So I thought it was an ambulance that got stuck and it just didn't
Right.
stop, you know? So I didn't know what the noise was, but I just figured I better get into a room with no
Hmm.
windows, you know? So that's what I did. But my husband was in the synagogue where they put everybody in a room also. They squished like
Right.
over 100 people where 30 people were meant to be, you know, but and
Wow.
no, it's been, you know, very
Hmm.
wild here ever since that day, with even missiles landing in the street here.
Yes.
And I was outside the other day when missiles were falling,
Hmm.
and we've also had terrorist infiltration into our community. So it's been a whole nother life I'm leading right now, which is
Trust me,
really,
I can relate because I'm retired military and I was in
oh,
3 combat tours. So I know exactly what it
right,
is you're going through. Trust me.
right,
Yeah.
right. You too, Mark, you also?
No, no, I didn't do the military route. So, I could
No,
just imagine because both of my brothers was, my late older brother's military, my dad,
right,
so
right.
uncles, so I can only live through their eyes of the military. But unfortunately, no, I never went in.
Right, right. Well, I think it's beautiful that you two brothers are doing this together. This is so awesome to me, you know? I
Yes.
just
Thank you.
love it. So, a- but basically, anyway, what I really wanted to share with you is this special ancient mystical wisdom that I learned that changed my life around. And
Okay.
it's a lot about what you were talking about with self-love. So
Hmm.
this is I want to continue that conversation, because what I didn't understand, my memoir, is this on a video too, or it's
Yes, this is
audio?
live. I'm sorry. I meant to tell you, this is actually
Oh,
live
okay.
on YouTube.
Okay, great. So I'll show you this. This is my memoir. It's called Nourish the Soul,
Okay.
filling the emptiness within, because that's what addictions are about.
Yes.
Mhm.
Addictions is we have a hole. We have
Hmm.
an emptiness inside, and we desperately try to fill it
Feel it.
with
Yep.
external things, right?
Hmm.
Like you were talking about drinking, um, what porn, what
Right.
gambling, what buying, people just keep on buying,
But
or or even or even the things people were going for at Harvard,
yeah.
power, prestige,
Yes.
all these things, they don't fill the hole. I saw the people up front. I knew the Kennedys, Bill Gates,
Hmm.
he was in my dorm. I mean, I knew these people.
Wow.
It's not joy. It doesn't bring you lasting joy. What does bring lasting joy? That's what you were able to find. And
Hmm.
that's what I was able to find. That's why I love this podcast, because that's my whole purpose now, like you, to share it with other people so that we could bring more joy to the world. So that's it. The tool is called the pleasure ladder.
Okay.
It's got 5 levels, and it corresponds to our 5 fingers,
Oh,
because that's it. We
Mm.
have the power. That's what you discovered too. We have the power to
yes.
bring lasting joy into our lives at any moment. Nobody else has that power. We have
But
the
us.
power.
Yep.
We have the power. We could do it. And these 5 levels on the pleasure ladder, they correspond to the 5 levels of the soul. The lowest level of the soul is
Mm.
the part that's connected to the body. So
Right.
when we eat like healthy food, when we exercise, we dance, we garden,
Yes.
we swim, we spend time in nature, we listen to music, all of these things, they're
Hmm.
sensual experiences. And when we do them with gratitude, it
Yes.
changes everything. Mindful gratitude, that's what you were talking about, mindfulness.
Hmm.
It changes everything. Then we are experiencing them they nourish both our body and our soul. When we experience gratitude and we experience these natural pleasures in the world, it uplifts and nourishes both our body and our soul. So
Yes.
that's the lowest level. Oh, I'll put that in here. Whoops, you can't see it. Why not? I
Okay.
don't know. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
The lowest level of pleasure are all the natural physical pleasures. And then if you go up the ladder, because see, when a person's in addiction, they feel isolated, they feel separate, they feel lonely, they feel depressed, anxious, miserable. So,
Yes.
so how do you bring in joy through connection? The first thing you connect with is natural physical things, and that uplifts you. And then the next highest level is love.
Yes,
So,
it is.
yeah. So
I'm
you
sorry.
think, yes, I love it. So you think love, well, that's dependent on someone else. But here, like you talked about, nobody explains what is love. And that's
Right.
like the most basic thing. So love in this ancient definition is focusing on the virtues of another. What do you appreciate about someone else?
Yes.
So even in prison, let's say in solitary confinement, and addiction is a prison too. In prison, a person could focus on the virtues of someone else. Let's say a grandmother that once did a kindness for them, and they are suddenly uplifted with a warm emotional feeling, and they feel a connection. They feel
Right.
a connection to another being. So we have the power to bring love into our lives at any moment. The person doesn't even have to be there. We
Exactly.
can fill ourselves up with that love by focusing on the virtues of another. And it takes us out of our inner focus. See, that's how it works. So what's higher than that is meaning, doing something meaningful, like your podcast. You're helping other people. So you're doing something meaningful, and this uplifts you as you're doing it. You know, it works instantaneously. So like I was on another show, and the guy said that he had 2 slices of pizza, and he was about to plow through the whole box of pizza. He's miserable, and he's just stuffing it in, you know, and because I could relate to that. I've been there and done that, you know. So all of a sudden, his neighbor knocks on his door. His neighbor needs his help with something for 2 minutes. He helps his neighbor. He comes back. He doesn't want the pizza anymore. What changed in 2 minutes? Just from helping someone else, he filled up with gratitude. He was able to give to someone else. He put the rest of the pizza in the fridge for another day. This works for all of us all the time. This is how we really fill up. And what's even higher than meaning? This is surprising. Creativity. When we are creative, we're putting a unique part of ourselves into the world. Like we're not just like stuffing envelopes or helping to do something. We're doing something that only we could do in our uniquely beautiful way in the world. When we do that, you know, when you are in the zone of creativity, you don't feel like eating or sleeping. Like time, you're beyond time. So that's even higher. And the highest one of all, the highest pleasure of all, is called transcendence. And yes, it's complete connection. We connect to everybody. Exactly. The veils of separation, they just lift because we see we all share so much. That's what's so great about these podcasts. I'm in Israel. You're in Texas. Where are you? I don't know where are you?
I'm in Georgia.
In Georgia. I love it. So it's just, you know, this is transcending. We are transcending, and we're sharing divine wisdom. It's like also we recognize like under a starry sky at night that we're
Mhm.
part of something so great. Those feelings stay with us forever. These are pleasures that stay with us forever. What's the price to pay to climb the pleasure ladder? There's just one price, and that is gratitude.
Mm.
It's mindful gratitude. It's like you said, being in the moment and
Yes.
being grateful
Friend
because
present. Yeah.
Right.
exactly, if we're grateful, that means we are receiving. There's a
Hmm.
connection. Somebody is giving to us. We
Yes.
may not know who that somebody is, but there's a force, there's a divine intelligence, there's infinite loving kindness and infinite wisdom involved. And all of that, like the vegetation is all
Hmm.
giving us oxygen and we're giving it the carbon dioxide it needs.
Yes.
We're all
All connected.
connected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So Brock, is that in your memoirs, or that's something that's different?
Good
The-
question. Good question. My memoir, it goes from age 12 to 32. And what I did was all my books are really short. I write books for children, but this
Okay.
book, I don't write long things. This book, I compiled it. I found my old diaries, my journals, my letters, and I filled in the missing pieces so that you could actually see it like you experience it with me,
Hmm.
developing food addictions and then healing from it. Cause I couldn't figure out why when I finally got the wisdom about life that I was searching for,
Right.
why did I no longer have the addictions? Just like for you,
Hmm.
you were saying, why did the addictions go away when you finally understood what life was about? It
Right.
because there's no longer a need for the addictions are a cry for help. You're
Yes, it is.
you're desperately trying to fill that emptiness. And when you know how to fill it, you don't need the addictions anymore. So that's the purpose of all this, just to spread that information so we could spread
Hmm.
it's spreading wisdom. Like like we have so much knowledge, but we're starving for wisdom, and this is the tools that can really help us to experience joyful lives the way
Right.
we were meant to live. Yeah.
So I have a question for you. Like for myself and you, I didn't have anybody like lead me to it. I kind of just came upon it, just from reading and going through experiences. So
Right.
for the audience out there, what do you think you can tell them as far as, okay, this is how you can do it. This is what you should look for, because everybody don't get to the point that we're at. Some people go through their entire life
Yes.
never,
Yes.
finding
Yes.
that true love and
True.
finding out that they don't need all this material stuff to replace the emptiness that they have. So if you
Exactly.
just have something that you can just give them tangible, other than, I know you mentioned your book and your memoirs,
Yes.
but what do you feel as though there's something that you can tell somebody, okay, this is what you can do to get to the realization, as far as that loving yourself is the beginning. And once you love yourself, you don't need all those outside devices.
Exactly. And recognizing it's all about that. We have these addictions because we feel out of control. We don't trust the world. Like we don't a sense of trust is missing. We don't trust life and we don't
Mhm.
trust ourselves. It's regaining a sense that ultimately inside our core, our essence is good. And
Mm.
ultimately, life itself is good because we didn't trust that. I didn't have that basic sense of trust in life. I really didn't even want to go on living at a certain point. Who needs this?
Right.
I didn't trust the goodness of life or in myself.
Mhm.
And when that perspective changes everything, when we begin to trust that there really is a good purpose ultimately to everything. I mean, here I am in the middle of a war, but I'm not
Right.
freaking out because I know that ultimately it's all going to be for good. We're going
Right.
through a really hard time right now. There are so many deaths happening.
Hmm.
Innocent people are being killed. It's a real nightmare that's happening. We know we've been through this before. I mean, our people have been through the Holocaust,
Right.
again and again and again we've been through Holocaust. For some reason, people want to exterminate Jewish people again and again throughout history. And as Black people, I know oppression has been a huge part of your
Hmm.
history too. This is something that we share. And even slavery is something that we share. I
Right.
mean, we also were slaves, and
Hmm.
even in the past and then during the Holocaust as well. So we there's so much that we all have in common as human beings. And and to recognize that, and when you have a sense of trust, then really you don't live in a sense of fear all the time, and you
Right.
live with a sense of appreciation for that we were actually put in this world to experience joyful gratitude. That
Hmm.
changed my whole perspective. So how can people do that? You start with something like an orange. An orange. Here is this orange. It's all the fruit are green. They're all camouflaged in. They're hidden with the leaves. They're protected until they're ready for us. And then they become bright and beautiful. We're ready. They're called to us with their beautiful colors, right?
Right.
So then we eat them and they smell good. They're total sensual pleasures. They smell good. They look bright and beautiful. And then they're juicy and sweet and they're good for us. And then when we finish, there are tiny seeds that are really meant to
Right.
go back into the earth
Hmm.
and become infinite more trees,
Right.
infinite more oranges. So just one thing, just think, if you experience an orange with mindful
Mm.
gratitude, it changes everything. And that's just one little gift. This world
Mm.
is so filled with gifts. Every single person right now has so many
Something.
gifts in their lives.
Yep. That's so true. You know what? I love the fact that you're focusing in on gratitude. And that was something, I read about it a lot, I hear about it a lot. And again, that's something that I don't know about where you're at in Israel, but here in the United States, because so much materialism and money and wealth and fame is pushed on a person,
Yep.
sometimes we get lost as far as just being happy and
Yes.
grateful for what it is that we have because we're always
Exactly.
looking for the next best thing. So I think
Exactly.
learning gratitude will go a long way as far as a person like really truly learning self-love. I
Yes.
think those two go hand in hand. Like you can't have love without gratitude, and you can't have gratitude without love. Because I talked about it last week. Part of that is being compassionate with yourself. And for myself, sometimes I get on myself and like, well, I should have more than this because I have X amount of education or I have this amount of experience, opposed to looking at, okay, where I'm at is not where I want to go, but I'm grateful for what I do have and where I've
Yes.
been. I know I'm going to get there. So I'm just happy in what it is that I have at this moment. So I think
Exactly.
gratitude is something that should be pushed just as much as self-love. And I love that you talked about that a lot as far as just having that mindset of being grateful. I don't know if you
Exactly.
believe in like manifestation. Like you can't really manifest anything if you don't have any gratitude because you have to open up room for more to come in. And if you're constantly in doubt, well, I don't have enough, or I want more, and then you're not allowing yourself to be open to let more come in.
Exactly. Exactly. If you don't appreciate what you have now, you're not going to appreciate what you think you want.
Once, right.
Not for long anyway, very briefly. I so I focus on writing books for children because my goal is to teach these happiness skills to children as young as possible.
Yes.
That's what we need. Because we're playing catch up. We're still playing catch up. But the earlier the children get these happiness skills, the better. So this is the funniest one. That my newest book is called, oh, there you go. Don't read this book. It's written by that voice in our head.
Right.
That's always telling us, oh, but you're missing this. You're focused on what you're lacking. We all have that voice in our heads. And first of all, we have to recognize that it's normal. This book took me 30 years to write because I didn't have the final wisdom that I needed to get the surprise ending for this book. Because this is the ending. The amazing thing is this. That voice in our head that's telling us to be miserable and focus on what you're missing. Here's the amazing thing. I didn't know this for so many years. That voice is also, it really is for our benefit. It's those barbells that you're lifting at the gym.
Right.
It's trying to get us to build our gratitude muscles.
Yes.
It's saying if we push it off, every time we push off that voice, we grow our gratitude muscles. We go, oh my gosh, it's you again. You're trying to make me miserable. Instead, I'm going to be grateful for what I've got right now. This is how we grow our gratitude muscles. And when you begin to exercise your gratitude muscles, it feels really silly at first. But it's like when you go on a road that hasn't been paved and it's very gravelly. When you create the grooves, when you create the neural pathways of gratitude, it gets easier and easier to be grateful because you've got all this grateful wiring in your brain. It's like amazing. So this is how to get happier and happier. Just practicing gratitude is the key to happiness.
I love it. I love it. That's the perfect way of explaining it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Now, I'm just curious. You said when you was in Harvard, you was practicing medicine. What exactly medicine were you practicing?
Well, no, when I was at Harvard, I graduated with a degree in psychology.
Okay.
And I was pre-med, and then I went on to medical school afterwards. So, like, it's a 4-year program to become a doctor, but I only finished my first year, and then I disappeared.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just curious because, like I was saying earlier, as far as you said you was working at a high company or as a at a headquarters building, and you stopped and you started your company.
The Goetz bookshop, you mean?
Right, the Better Topics.
Oh, wait. So right now, my children are, I like all these years, I had like 40 books published. And then my youngest children decided they wanted to become the publishers. So now I don't send my books out to publishers anymore. My children started a publishing company, and they're now publishing my books. So, yeah. And there's books like, I have books like helping children prevention of abuse, because like all my books, what they have in common is they help souls to shine as brightly as possible. So things like abuse, this is what happens with abuse. We all have these shining souls, but when there's abuse, oh, how does it work? It's like it puts a cover over our souls so you can't see them shining anymore. You don't even feel them shining. So that's when we have to nourish our souls so that they get stronger. And sometimes we need support. Like if a person has been through an abuse or neglect or trauma, to help remove all the layers of protection so that we can fully shine again. So, Yeah. So I teach children, like those books are in a lot of homes, like 150,000 children love the books, believe it or not, about
Mhm.
prevention of abuse, because it
Wow.
makes them feel more safe and secure when they have guidelines about
Right.
how to be in this world, how to avoid people that are dangerous and things like that.
Okay. So I just want to make sure. I know I read this in your bio as far as the game that you created
No,
for the
I think that
couples.
might be somebody else. I'm not sure who the game is. I
Okay,
didn't.
because that was definitely on your bio.
I
Because it
don't
was
know.
talking about the children books, and then it
Yeah,
said you.
children's books, but I'm not sure what game. Videos, and we do animations and stuff like that. I'm not exactly sure about the game.
Okay, I wanted to talk to Jessie because she sent me this.
Okay.
I'm sitting there like I can't wait to talk to her about this. I'm interested in that
Whoops.
game.
Right.
Uh-oh. What is the game about? Tell me. I don't know anything about a game. Tell me, what is the game about? I don't.
Well, it's basically it was saying that you were a guru of bringing couples together,
This
and
is
so
this is definitely somebody else. I don't know.
that is funny. Yeah, so it's like this person created a game, and they promised that if you play this game,
Oh
that
my goodness.
you'll reconnect with your significant other, and it's like the best thing since
Fantastic. Well, that
apple
sounds like a
pie.
great show. Tell me when it's on and I'll watch it. I don't know.
Okay, so how would someone be able to purchase your children books? Is it
Oh
a
yeah.
website?
Yes, and also please, you can download a free chart of the pleasure ladder. If you go to the website, you put in your email address, it's in much more detail like that I explained today. So people can put it on their fridge or their cabinet. So you'll know that there's an abundance of ways to bring pleasure into your life. We overeat or we get into other addictions because we feel like there's a scarcity of pleasure in our lives.
Yeah, so true.
This this will help you recognize that there's an abundance of ways that you can bring pleasure into your life at any moment. You have the power. So go for it. And all my books are on the website and there's videos and all kinds of things. So I hope you'll visit. It'll make my children really happy. It's called www.goetzbookshop.com, and Goetz is spelled that funny way,
Okay.
Goetz. Yeah. So and I hope that people will download the pleasure ladder. Anybody, if in case you don't want the books, you could still get the pleasure ladder for free there. So yeah.
No, I'm definitely gonna check into that pleasure ladder. I love that.
Great.
I'm gonna post it up on my wall too.
Oh, good. I'm so happy. Wonderful. Thank
Okay,
you.
so
It's been such a pleasure to meet both of you. I can't tell you,
Yeah.
I really wanted to meet you after listening to your it was such a great podcast. The openness of both of you and you two doing this together is so beautiful. And I hope you touch many, many lives and uplift them.
well, I
Okay.
appreciate you for the kind words. And again,
Yeah.
we humbly thank you for joining us.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. May there be peace on earth.
Yes, and you stay safe
Yeah.
over there.
Yes. For
Amen.
real.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you
bye-bye.
so much. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye. All right, so there we have it. That was Bracha Goetz. So for those of you that didn't get her website, it's www.getsotsbooks.com. So she brought some different or a different
Yeah.
perspective for me. I don't know about you, but the pleasure ladder, that was
Right.
different. And I think it do kind of coincide as far as some of the things that I talked about last week on the podcast. I don't know if you looked at it, but that's why I
Yeah.
believe
I actually
everything
did.
falls in place.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
everything has perfect timing. Now you
Yeah.
clearly see that what I've read on her bio was totally different, and we went
Right. It
something
was. Yeah.
totally, off script. But
Right.
I think it was needed. It kind of closed up as far as what I was talking about last week with the whole
Mhm.
self-love thing.
Right.
So hopefully everybody enjoyed it. And so I'm just curious, what's your feedback on it,
Yeah,
on what she
so
was talking about?
So I mean, like you were saying, the five fingers, that was a really interesting way perspective and how she presented that. And then to elaborate on your podcast, I actually did watch it, and it was a really good podcast. And that's why I was like, damn, I really wish I was on there to give my input. But it was great. Like it was from beginning to end, it was a good episode. The way you broke it down, the way you expressed what you went through, and I think it was just perfect, like she
Mhm.
stated. But I wanted to say something while she was on here, but that's fine. But what I took from it is funny when she was talking about as far as is addiction, and it's funny
Yeah,
because we all think addiction is always in a negative way, meaning something
right.
you're doing to abuse yourself. And I had to sit here as she was talking and make me kind of think that my addiction is working out, the gym,
Yeah,
right? And I had many girlfriends that would get upset and say, all I worry about is working out. And it did affect the relationship somewhat because I
mhm,
put all my time into the gym. Now, I'm a trainer, so it kind of makes sense, it's understanding, but it's an addiction, like she said, where you get lost, you feel like all the walls closing in, and you, in a sense, crying for help. But I
yeah,
use it more in a positive way, thinking I'm in the gym, I'm working out, is a peace of mind. But truth be told, ever since when Jay passed, and then being that you in Georgia, Jay was the only one, as you know, was the only one here other than my kids. So I never
right.
really associated with anybody else. So I felt left behind with nobody to really go to unless I
Mm,
call you. So the gym was my outlet. And I mean, literally, after Jay passed, I was in the gym 24/7. I mean, I was in there 2 times a day, leaving, staying for
yeah,
3, 4 hours. So that was my addiction, but I always looked at it in the light as just not an addiction. It's just something I love to do. But listening to what she was saying, yeah, that's an addiction. Addiction is anything that you need to gravitate to and use that to get out of your mind or whatever's going on in your personal life. So that was my addiction. So I'm glad that she kind of put it that way because it made me face myself just now on this podcast and make me realize, damn, even though working out is good, but it was still an addiction because I kind of closed off everybody else.
right.
And that was my way of coping. And then, after dad and then mom, that was literally my outlet, because I don't drink like that to abuse it. So the gym was my abuse. So I love
Yeah,
that the way she broke it down with the five fingers, and that's something to think about. The gratitude, I get that. I've been
yeah,
understanding that, and I'm a student of that when it comes to appreciate little things. That's what I always
hmm,
say: appreciate little things. Because I just got finished with my client, and it's funny that we had this podcast. Well, it's not funny, but she has, not to put her business out there, she has a lot of medical issues.
right.
She was telling me she got to have surgery for this. She would have 2 surgeries at the same time because she does have cancer. So my point
Wow.
is, I was sitting there like, wow. And I told her, I said, you seem to handle it so well. But she said, but you don't understand. On the inside, I'm crying. I just want to release and let people know because she tells me how everybody tell her how tough and strong she is.
Hmm.
And she was like, yeah, but that's just on the outside. I'm dying on the inside. And I'm sitting here and I said, I'm complaining about my foot hurting, and that's what I was laughing like. Yeah, everybody tends to have it worse than somebody else. So the point I'm making out of all of that, as far as gratitude, is I'm not taking I'm taking for granted the things that I do have, and I'm complaining
Hmm.
about the one thing instead of realizing it's somebody else that's dealing with a whole lot more, and
Yeah,
she's not walking around crying or complaining about it. So yeah, gratitude by all means is something that we all, myself included, need to really start implementing it more. Like you said, that should be highlighted just as much as self love. Like you
yeah,
said, hand in hand. That was literally that's the way it should be. But that's what I took out of it. So I'm glad that she had that, that little speech, not speech, but what she had to say about as far as
yeah.
gratitude, because that's real. That's real. So
Okay. Um, so for me, I think the thing that stuck out is when she was talking about the addiction part. And I kind of related it to that, but I never like went in depth as far as like she did.
right.
And when you think about it, and when you was talking about the gym, everybody replaces an emptiness with something.
Something. Exactly.
Like I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody has something that they're replacing something that they're lacking. Some people
Yeah.
use religion, some
Yeah.
people use music, some people use sex, some people use like
Hmm.
do the gym, some people
Right.
use education.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still say I'm not a finished product, but
Right.
she was talking about it. Once you get to that final step, she says transcendence. I
Yeah.
just That's the same thing I call, but it's a different name.
Right.
But I just find that interesting that I don't think it's going to happen. No one says it's not going to happen,
Right.
but I just see that so much is being pushed on here in the United States as far as always trying to get more and to
Hmm.
have better. And I was thinking about this the other day, and I told Candy this. Like my dream and my goal is not to have a whole well, have money in the sense to help other people and to bring stuff to the world that's needed. In that way, I would want money and look forward to it. But as far as like, I want to be a billionaire, like you got some of these athletes, and that's their goal. And
Hmm.
I was telling Candy, my goal is to reach a level of spirituality to where I'm using my actual spiritual gifts on a daily basis.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I sent it to you, but it was this guy that was on Instagram. And he was using telekinesis. He was basically moving, I think it was a spoon, and he was like
Right.
lifting it up and stuff like that. And people were like, man,
Yeah.
that's fake. That's a magnet or whatever the case is.
Uh-huh.
But the point I'm getting to is like,
Yeah.
that's what my deep down desire is to get to that point.
Hmm.
Because all this natural stuff, anybody can have it. Anybody can get it. Rather if you
Right.
steal it, scam your way,
Right.
cheat, work
Yeah, it's
hard,
obtainable. Yeah.
it's
Just yeah.
attainable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I had it. I don't need it. Mom said I don't need it. I don't want it.
Right.
I want those spiritual things. Like I want those things like you be seeing in movies or hearing about. Like the stuff is real. That really
Yeah.
can't happen, but we're not
Uh-huh.
at that vibration yet to even use it.
Right.
And that's like what my whole mission is while I'm here.
Hmm.
So, and that's what she was talking about as far as like having gratitude. And it's funny,
Yeah.
is because that's what I've been reading on the last couple of days was
Uh-huh.
gratitude.
Yeah.
And for the last 3 days straight, you have been in my dreams.
Hmm.
And it wasn't a good dream. Like we was at it and you was going at it and stuff like that.
Say it wasn't a
But
good dream.
no, it wasn't a good dream. But
Okay.
but no, seriously, we was going at it. And every day when I wake up, it's like that's what my focus is
Right.
gratitude. I have to stop thinking about, damn, I don't have this, or
Hmm.
why can't I get this, or why I'm in this situation.
Hmm.
And stop. I had to stop and think today. I was like, man, with all the way stuff is going on, like I'm still not having a full-time job yet. It's been 3 years, but
Right.
yet I can still live in a home. I can still ride in my car. I can
Yeah.
still buy food and stuff like that and somewhat travel.
Hmm.
So it could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Now I was thinking like, what if I didn't have the uh the disability or whatever? I would be sucking
Exactly.
wind right now. So I was like, you know what, man, stop worrying about what you don't have. Be thankful for
Yeah.
what you have and just
Hmm.
be patient and what you're looking for is gonna
Yeah.
come. So I just love that she was focused on the gratitude.
Yeah. That's that in a nutshell. Yeah, that's where it's at. And the part I love also, which I think is good, that she's doing it by targeting the kids.
Yes.
Because to me, if we don't teach the kids, it's going to be a continued cycle,
Yep.
and it's still going to be something that filter through. But if we don't teach them and give them that guidance about gratitude at a young age, like she said, we at all is trying to play catch up as adults if we
Hmm.
lost it or didn't recognize it or didn't pay attention to it. So I love that she's focusing. I think that's a good way to make change is focus on the younger generation because trying to tell another adult, some will get it, but some are going to push back because they're going to feel like
Hmm.
they know. I already know what gratitude is, and they're gonna be open minded. So it's gonna be more of a struggle. But when you got the young, but they more, I hate to say naive, but they are. You can teach them to be able to, have them understanding and grow up. They're gonna still
Right.
go through their trials and tribulations, but I feel like that was good that she does the children book. So for me also to touch on that, on the gratitude thing too, when you were saying about how you want to transcend it into more spiritually, and I think Felicia and I, we had a conversation about that the other day, and we have our differences, and I told her it was about personal training. She was saying how you could do this and make so much money, and I said honestly, and I tell everybody, and some people look at me side
It's
eyed
not
like,
for the
really?
money.
Yeah, I said for me, it's more helping somebody because
Helping.
my
Yep.
belief is it's power influence. So if you
Yeah.
can influence somebody, inspire somebody, motivate somebody, to me,
Then you
that's
do it to somebody else.
more than any money because you changed that person's life and
Right.
had them believe in themselves. And now they going on and doing something they never thought they could. And that's why Karina, I had to put a shout out to her. She gave me a compliment. It was like, I appreciate you training me because now she's going on. Now she's a trainer.
Yeah.
You did that for me. I was in the training, but it wasn't for you. That's what motivated me. So that's, to me, is the most gift. You can influence
Right.
somebody to want to do better, not bad. Because if you influence somebody to do bad, you really ain't no better. But if you
Right.
influence them to do something positive, to me, that's the ultimate. Because
Yeah.
now they doing the same thing and then passing it on. So
Exactly.
that's where I'm at. As far as that's my end game to say transcendent is to be. I'm not there yet with you in the spirituality yet because I'm still learning in that
Hmm.
process. So I'm not going to say it like some people say, oh, I'm just spiritual. And I don't really think they on that path. They just saying it because it sounds right. And we're in that era where it's about that. But you
Yeah.
live it, and there's other people I know that live it, like Felicia, and it's a lady at work. She's very spiritual. So that, I'm still on that path. But yeah, gratitude is most definitely important. But I love that show last week. We have to do a follow up on that because that was really good. Like really, really good. I
Okay.
mean, even my friend told me, and I'm telling you because I know she's watching. You know who you are. I ain't gonna say your name, but she watches our show, and she just, I could tell about influence, and she loves it. She was just like, "Oh my God, your brother's show was so amazing, and it hit home." And she wrote almost a notebook on text and telling me how she appreciated that show. I don't know if she commented to you on a page on
No.
YouTube, but the point I'm making is everybody's watching it, and she loved that last week's show. Like it was really, really good. So shout outs to everybody that's watching but is not commenting. Just
Right.
please comment. It's not gonna hurt nobody. Let us know you're watching. Again, I appreciate talking about gratitude that y'all watching us, but just share on the comment and share and comment and what's the other one? Subscribe. I couldn't remember. I got brain dead for a second.
On
But yeah,
top of
though, that
that,
was good stuff.
on top of what you're saying, like and share.
Yeah, like and share. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, because the comments are good, but the likes and
Yeah, you
shares
gotta
is
like
what's
it.
going to
Right.
open it up so more people can see us.
See it. Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Say less. Yeah. But no, that was a
All
good
right.
show though. I really enjoyed it.
All right. So, um, for the next month and that, about I'd say month and a half, we're going to have guests. Me
Mm-hmm.
and Mark is still going to have our daily, not daily, but we still going to have our podcast, which is just him and I. But then we're also going to have guests. And unfortunately, the schedule didn't work out to where it was the time it's going to be feasible for Mark to be there too. So it'll just be myself and the guest. But we still going to have our podcast like we're doing now. It's still going to be aired on Wednesday, live on Saturday or Sunday. But just letting you know that I got a guest coming up is Dr. Lauren on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. and then Friday with Tracy. And on Tuesday, it's about mental health. So if you all are not at work and you're able to tune in. If not, just catch it on Wednesday. But we got some good guests coming up with some good topics. These are professional people. This aren't just, running amok. Just, hey, you off the street, come here and be a guest on my show. These are people that actually have experience and credentials. So if y'all watching out there, focus on the credentials to take advice from somebody, then these guests actually have credentials. So with that being said, we hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. It will be aired again on Wednesday and again Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. live Eastern time with Dr. Lauren. Then Friday, and then me and Mark will be back on Saturday. And he got a topic for y'all. He got something for you.
And then
So
don't forget Spotify too, though.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know if you mentioned Spotify radio. Yeah.
yeah, and Spotify. It will be on Spotify every Wednesday. So if you can't see us, just tune in on Spotify and listen to us. So
Hey,
beautiful people, go ahead.
I have a question that one of my friends asked me, so I can't answer because you kind of created the Spotify, but they asked me, can you comment on? It's just listen on
Yeah.
the radio. It's not call in and you can actually hear the person on the radio.
No, you
Right.
can comment, but we won't be able
But
to respond.
okay, so I just
At the
wanted to know.
moment they're
They
listening
asked
to it.
me, right? So I just wanted to make sure because I didn't know, and I told them I'd find out. So
Yeah.
there you have it, guys. So you can only listen on Spotify. So
All right. So beautiful
right.
people, y'all be good.
All right. Have a great Sunday.
All right. We out.